You think I like being here, watching over your lot day in, day out. Trust me, I'd rather be anywhere else. But they've got me orders. Just like you. Can't go against them, can we? So save your bloody looks for someone who gives a fuck. We're both trapped in this mess. But you're the unlucky piece of shit. At least I get to walk free when my shift ends. You're stuck here, with no way out. So quit your sniveling, accept your damn fate. That's the way of the world, isn't it?
Salutations and a warm welcome, you beautiful beings. You're watching Artgallus and Clementine. Today, I put together an overview of one of the factions of my worldbuilding project, the Sembar Navy. I was really conflicted on the type of video to make. Writing half the script dedicated to a video on the capital city. But after some pondering and considering, I thought the Navy would make a far more interesting video. While I share the lore and decisions I made, I'll be having a speed paint of an isometric map from the harbour of one of the cities, with some environmental variation as well. Eventual idea is to build the whole city map like this, because I can't take the easy route, I have to make myself suffer. So as at the end of the video, I'll be introducing story time, as well as introducing two characters to add into the rest of our story. So please, do wait for that at the end. Origins. The Sembar Navy is meant to be the official navy of the country, but on account of the country's size, Yahadquuk has become its seat of power, with it dominating the eastern coastline, with each province being featured except for Milsham Kalsho. The coastlines are too dangerous to navigate, so there's no harbour for there. The western coast of Sembar, however, is not governed by the navy, on account of being too far from the main reaches of governments. It started out as a small mercenary guild, dedicated to protecting small merchant vessels while trading with other provinces, and as well as adjacent countries. However, it grew rapidly with increase in trading distances to become the national naval defense for the entire of the eastern coastline of the country, as well as for neighboring countries as well. The Navy has become the natural defender of the coastlines, and started to get funded for its own voyages, causing it to form its own merchant division. These voyages consist of trading relations with the Northern Pearl Trading Company, so they have outposts all across the eastern coastline harbours, some colonizing ventures as well. The most notable of these voyages that they have attempted being the colonization of the Sembar Archipelago, a group of islands down the eastern coastline covered in a dense jungle and abundance of large land perfect for subtropical farming, as well as being covered in an abundant amount of ruins from a long-lost civilization that the scholar guilds wish to send archaeologists into. The attempt to colonize this land has been an ongoing struggle through the years, on account of a particular pirate by the name of Josephine and his loyal band of marauders, claiming the archipelago as their only promised land. This voyage, although not as successful on account of the pirates, it has been more fruitful. The few plantations they operate, using enslaved labor from the island's natives, they have managed to make fortunes, allowing them to maintain this venture. Weapons. The weapons of the Navy were specifically commissioned for this voyage to the Sembar Archipelago, being made of metal compared to the typical obsidian for their use in cutting foliage. They are also crescented to mimic that of the Navy's symbol, the crescented moon. These blades don't feature unique patterns besides for the highest ranking individuals. But not to tread too much over the weapons, there is a weapon video dedicated to where I discuss the metal weapons. It will be linked in the corner, as well as the end of the video if you wish to know more about them. Ships. Ships vary greatly between the rankings. On the lowest end we have ships constructed out of hide and bones, suitable for coastline ventures at most, but not for the rough seas. And the largest vessels are purchased from other countries, where wood is more accessible. These ships are treated with exceptional care for the amount they cost to be built. The sails of these ships are to be made from animal skins, typically in a fashion similar to junk ships. Some of the larger vessels do have more conventional sails, with the textiles either being made from local reeds or imported materials from one of their plantations. These ships typically fall into these categories: coastline patrol vessels, small agile ships designed for patrolling coastline waters and protecting merchant vessels from pirates and other threats, They're often equipped with light weaponry and have shallow drafts to navigate in shallow waters close to the coasts. Then we have frigates. Frigates are versatile warships that excel in a variety of roles, including escorting merchant convoys, scouting, and engaging in enemy vessels. They're larger than coastal patrol vessels and typically have a mix of firepower and speed. Next we have the galleons, which are large, multi-decked sailing ships with impressive firepower and cargo capacity. They serve as flagships and are often used for long-range voyages, colonization efforts, and protecting vital trade routes. These ships are often the prize of the Sembar Navy and are meticulously maintained. Merchant vessels. Sembar Navy's merchant division operates a fleet of trading vessels used to establish trade relations, set up outposts, and conduct colonization ventures. These ships vary in size and design, range from the small, nimble trading sloop to the larger, heavily laden merchantmen. Exploration ships, in addition to its military and merchant vessels, the Sembar Navy employs specialized exploration ships for voyages of discovery and exploration. These ships are equipped with provisions for long voyages and carry teams of scholars, cartographers, and archaeologists to uncover the secrets of distant lands, such as the archipelago itself. Slave ships. Unfortunately, the Navy colonization efforts on the plantations of the archipelago involved the use of slave ships to transport enslaved labor from the islands and natives. These ships are heavily guarded and equipped to handle the transportation of human cargo. Command structure. The structure of the Navy has reformed during the years of the shattering, the events marking year zero of the calendar, when the moons collided. This reformation of the namings of the ranks was changed from their local tongue of Doncel towards Serenity, Scholar's tongue, to make communication across the open seas far more easier. The first on this list is Marshal, the highest ranking officer in the Sembar Navy, responsible for the overall command and strategic direction. The Marshal reports directly to the Pyongyang, the ruler responsible for impartial judgment between the provinces, akin to sort of a monarch of sorts, although the Navy operates largely independently from this individual. Next we have an Admiral, commanding officer of a fleet or a major naval task force, responsible for overseeing multiple ships and naval operations within their assigned region or theater of operation. We have the Vice Admiral, second in command to the Admiral, responsible for multiple similar things, such as strategic planning, coordination of naval activities, and also may lead small task force or squadrons of their own. Then we have the Rear Admiral, typically assigned to the command a squadron or division within a fleet, responsible for tactical operations, training, and readiness of their assigned ships. Below that, we have the Commodore, a commanding officer of a naval task force, flotilla, or specialized squadron, responsible for leading patrols, escort missions, or special operating teams. Below that, then we have the Captain, commanding officer of an individual warship, responsible for the operations, maintenance, and command ringers of their vessel. Below that captain, we have the commander, executive officer or second in command of a warship, assisting the captain in managing ship operations, doing crew activities, and implementing tactical decisions. Lieutenant, a division officers who stand responsibility for supervising crewmates and executing assigned duties during underway operations. Below that with the ensign, junior officers in training or recently commissioned officers, serving as division officers, watch officers, or assistants to the senior officers. Midshipmen, officer candidates or cadets undergoing training at naval academics or aboard ships, learning navigation, seamanship, and leadership skills. And then below that we have our general working class, although they're not listed in the rankings of the Navy. While this is the baseline structure, depending on the vessel or outpost, structures may be handled in different command structures for their needs and requirements. Story time. Diverging from the direct law of the Navy, let's shift our focus to the former slave ship guard mentioned at the start of the video. His name is Isis Imbo, which translates to red loot. A nod to the unique birthmarks scattered across his left cheek, giving him a striking red appearance. Hailing from a lower class background, he lacks a family name, although the family of his is made up primarily of chosen family, of very kind-hearted people. Gisembo's story begins as a humble deckhand along the bustling harbour front, where he toiled away navigating the ranks of maritime commerce. Despite his modest beginnings, Gisembo possessed a raw determination and fierce spirit that caught the attention of the Sembar Navy recruiters. Eager for adventure and a chance to rise above his station, Gisembo seized the opportunity to join the ranks of the Navy, a decision that would alter the course of his life forever. Tasked with guarding one of the Navy's slave ships, Gisembo found himself thrust into the harsh realities of maritime trade, where human lives were bought and sold like commodities. For the first 5 long months, Gisembo patrolled the decks of the slave ships, his heart heavy with the weight of his duties and the suffering he witnessed. Despite the brutality of the surroundings, Gisembo maintained a semblance of humanity, forging unexpected connections with enslaved individuals under his watch. Although this would be hard for most to see based on his more abrasive demeanor. However, fate had other plans in store for Gisembo and his charges. During a treacherous voyage back to Sembar, disaster struck as the ship ran aground, leaving Gisembo and a former slave by the name of Kupas stranded on a coast not far from their original destination. Kupas easily identified by their tattoos covering their body, and a name meaning wise day within their own native tongue, something they put to use by turning Gisembo to the light. Facing the harsh realities of their circumstances, Gisembo made the fateful decision to ally himself with this very individual he once guarded, recognizing the injustice of their plight and the shared desire for freedom that bound them together. With a newfound sense of purpose, Gisembo embarked on a daring quest to return his allies to the native land, navigating treacherous waters both literal and metaphorically. But as soon discovers the path to liberation is fraught with peril, Gisembo found himself embroiled in a far-reaching conflict that threatens to engulf the entire nation as the plague that has shut off all trade. And the war has further added complications. His family is stuck within the middle of this, their own lives at stake. Despite the odds stacked against him, Gisembo remains undetermined, driven by unwavering belief in the power of resilience and enduring spirit of those who dare to defy their oppressors. Thus brings Gisembo's story alongside Mokapa's, a tale of redemption, courage, and unbreakable bonds forged in the crucible of adversity. Will he join the rebellion within Yardquik to help defend his family? Will he seize the ship and flee, taking the ex-slaves with him? The story, among many, is only waiting to be uncovered. However, you'll have to wait and see where the story goes. And that will cover it for the Sembar Navy, as well as the introduction to our new characters, Gisembo and his companion Kupas. I would very much like to thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed exploring this world as much as I have been making them. Drop your thoughts, questions, or suggestions in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you. Until tomorrow brings us together once more, this is Clementine. Fare thee well in your endeavors.